On this Monday morning in November, middle of November, to the Ashes to Rubies live stream where we talk about life and recovery and so much more.
Perhaps you're joining us live. Perhaps you're joining us later.
Maybe you're joining us from bed or from your office or from your home office or from the sandy beaches of Florida.
Maybe on the podcast recording, driving in your car. Live stream is fun, but I also do enjoy the convenience of a podcast that I can download on my phone and just
True.
Like, hey, what do I want to listen to while I'm driving?
So I got ready. I put on a new shirt for you, for me. I did a little mouthwash for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm fresh. Okay.
I actually wondered if you'd been drinking.
You were.
I was like,
that's a good question.
It smells like alcohol.
Should somebody with an alcohol problem, that's not really what the problem is, but an alcohol dependency at one point in their life, should they have alcoholic mouthwash?
Aren't most mouthwashes alcohol free now?
I would say most are alcohol free.
Yeah. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, most are alcohol free. I think that it's good options. Good options, especially for kids.
What are they using instead?
They are probably using Lysol or Dettol or bleach. Remember Dettol? Did you grow up with Dettol?
No.
I grew up in Asia, and the smell of Dettol still permeates my nostrils.
It's a cleaning agent? Like for wounds?
I don't really know what it is, but it's powerful and has a very distinct smell. And I remember my mom would soak everything in Dettol. Like if you had a cut, you get your cut in that Dettol water. You got a wound on your foot, you would be soaking in Dettol. I don't know if they clean surfaces with Dettol.
Is it
Dettol?
Orange?
It's kind of yellowy orange.
It stains your skin?
I don't know. No, it doesn't stain your skin. That's
Good morning, William.
William
is joining us live.
Good morning, William, all the way from Rockland, Ontario. Welcome. We had a snow. What do you feel when you see the first snow? Intrepidation, anxiety, or utter joy, and you want to go make snow angels?
I mean, it's been a while since I've been able. It's been a while since I've been able to do the things that I love to do outside because I don't love so I haven't been kayaking.
No kayaking.
Since October.
No scootering.
And we went scootering a couple weeks ago, but it was chilly. So yeah, I don't know. Do I really care if it snows or not? I mean, if it's going to be gross out, it might as well snow.
True. I agree. I think snow, we're just accustomed to it. If we lived out somewhere else, like in BC or Vancouver, somewhere where it doesn't snow very much, and then we come back to the snow, we're like, oh, why would we ever live here? Because we've done that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is why do we do this? What's the point? But when you live in it, I think it's a little bit different. You're acclimatized to it. There's no other option.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? No. Any apologies you need to make? Any?
You want me to make my apology public, even though I made it in private?
No.
I feel like it was.
No, I wasn't even referring to. I wasn't referring to what I think you're referring to. What are you referring to?
I'm not going there.
No, what are you referring to? Do I owe you any apologies? Any amends?
I thought that I owed you an apology.
For what?
For last week's
name calling?
It wasn't name calling.
What was it?
For last week's amateur episode.
The amateur. Oh.
I wasn't saying you're an amateur.
It's funny because I got to bring that up on Sunday. I used it as good material. I appreciate what you've given me to be able to use as material to be able to talk about even in more of a public atmosphere, like on a Sunday preaching schedule.
You're welcome.
Yeah. The whole point was, I just want to say our egos is what gets in the way of the ones we love and God. And so our ego actually positions us on the throne of judgment and criticism and all of that stuff. And if you want to see John Ruby's ego rebuild in 3 seconds, go to the last morning devotional, morning meditation.
Thursday or Wednesday.
It's the last one because we didn't do one on Friday because we had a.
Okay, so let me just say, lots of times when people think of ego, they think of that arrogant person that thinks that they're so much better than they really are. But I would say that my ego shows up in insecurity and self-deprecating behavior.
Self-pity.
And so self-pity, feeling sorry for myself, feeling not good enough. I often will consider quitting doing this because I think too much about what other people think of me, and I never assume that they're thinking good thoughts. Of course not. Strange.
But the ego is the thing that rebuilds of the cast of characters. We all have a cast of characters,
right?
And our goal is not to be the director of those characters and let God destroy those characters. And I need to do that on a daily basis. Right. So there you go. If you want to see the fun of me getting riled up, just go to the last morning meditation. Good stuff. Thank you, Vicky. I appreciate you. I don't know if you've been told that today. You are appreciated, and so are you. Here we go. Here is our contemplative meditation. This is an idea that we will take throughout the day. One way in Al-Anon, or one way in the 12 steps, the program is a big help, that it reminds me of truths that I tend to forget. So the fellowship, our recovery, the 12-step meetings that you go to, or whatever it is, your people, your flock, for example, they keep us on track and remind us of things that we easily forget. So for example, as the Al-Anon to the alcoholic, I hear again and again in meetings, and I read in our literature that alcoholism is a disease. The alcoholic is a sick human being, or a disconnected from God human being. We do not punish people for being sick. I may give ample lip service to this idea, but when it comes to real acceptance, my instinctive attitude toward the alcoholic is often hostile, as though he were an enemy, willfully bent on destroying me. I need Al-Anon's consistent reminders that such feelings hinder both my spiritual progress and improvement in my family situation. I must rid myself of the poison of resentment, indignation at the person, and I am not capable of judging fairly, and useless pity for myself. Let me read that again. I must rid myself of the poison of resentment, indignation at a person I am not capable of judging fairly, and useless pity for myself. I must have God rid me of those things, but take them to God. Here's today's reminder. If I'm suffering from bitterness against the alcoholic, I will cling to the thought that may growth and serenity depend on overcoming my animosity. Unless I free myself from it, I may carry it over into my relationships with other people, even those who in Al-Anon are trying to help me. Here's the quote of the day. It is not man's acts which disturb us, but our reactions to them. Take these away, and anger goes. No wrong act of another can bring shame on you. Oh,
here's what stood out to me.
Go.
The line that said, I am not capable of judging other people fairly or effectively.
We can judge them, but not effectively.
I am not effective or wise judge of other people.
What stands out to me is something that you had said. I think at the very beginning, we talked about the cast of characters. So if I have this cast of characters, I'm going to take everything personally. And you're offending me. I take offense to you. And then I become defensive and judgmental and critical. And so I loved how you did your talk last week. And if you didn't see that, it's on the Ashes to Rubies podcast or YouTube. And you did a talk about detachment and the realization that you had a net and you caught the whale. The alcoholic is the whale. And I always thought that you were my prisoner, but you actually had me as your prisoner. And I never had thought about it in that way. And so when you're netting your alcoholic or the people around you that you're trying to help and save and control, like that net is a controlling net. And so how do I live in community without being the guy with the net and just be one of the bystanders and not get into this enmeshment and attachment? I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think that only God on a daily basis can divorce us. We use that word, divorce us from our ego, divorce us from the things that our minds set up so that we can be offended, that we can be hurt, that we can be full of self-pity and indignation from. And so I actually need the power of God on a daily basis to separate me from that. Because if I'm not separate from that, at some point I will go drink, because drinking's not my choice. God has separated me from drinking, but if I'm not separated from my ego on a daily basis, at some point I will go back to that. Or I will live a miserable, insane life, not alcoholic insanity, but the insanity that I can run my life and be okay.
Yeah, that insanity of selfishness and self-pity and like sitting and wallowing in feeling sorry for myself separates me from like the entirety of the world around me.
And so the big truth today is that we are surrounded by awesome people, loving people, kind people, and there are also people that are sick. And I don't want to even cast judgment in that manner, but there are people that we're surrounded by that are separated from God. And they do things and they consume and they
step on our toes,
step on the toes, and we react. And so our responsibility is to love and be kind and be not enmeshed, but detached in love. And so we can be an encouragement to those around us. So those are some heavy truths that we tend to forget. And if we're not reminded on a daily basis about how our ego is, then those truths fade away and I become hurt and indignant and controlling. So that's what I want to leave us with today is, what are the truths that we forget? That people are separated from God, and we want to respond in love and kindness. Amen.
Yeah, the biggest problem is my reaction.
All right, we leave you with that. Happy Monday. Keep the peace, be of good behavior, and we will see you tomorrow.